Hey, everybody. I know you are getting so much value out of this training, and I could not stop myself. I had to reach out to the queen of decluttering, Rebecca Saltzman. And we've been talking about what gets in the way of us getting all the things that we're praying for. We're spending this time investing in our prayers, investing in allowing everything that we want to happen. And we are just going to remove all of the blocks to getting the health, the wealth, the style, the shalom bayis in our home that is so important. As we enter the new year, we want to get out of the clutter and into a clearer version of what we need to do to allow God to give us what we ask for. And we all know that if we are cluttered and unhappy in our home, it is impacting every other area of our life. So when I thought of who was I going to ask to give you guys tremendous value, there was only one person.
Thank you so much.
Rebecca holds a degree in fashion design from Parsons School of Design, and for many years she worked as a graphic designer. She personally came to my home once and helped me organize it, and it only took me 3 years to finally do the renovation to put into place the things that I discussed with her 3 years ago when I hired her to consult for me. Her straightforward approach to managing stuff, her no-nonsense ability to get to the heart of what is truly important, combines with her people skills to help people get control of their lives through organization. She has so many tools and courses on her website, including a Shabbat planner. Rebecca uses her professional design skills to truly help our clients create organized and beautiful spaces for themselves and their family. In addition to eliminating the balagan for her clients, her sense of style and function make the new balagan-free space one that everyone can enjoy. And we know, especially with the holidays, everyone's home, there's a lot more clutter, there's a lot more stress, and that is going to block everything that we want to happen in our lives from coming to us. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for giving me a few minutes of your time, and to everybody else here. We're here
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're here because Shabbat is this amazing time every week to practice what we want to allow in our life, to kind of take everything we're praying for the new year and allow it to keep coming. So when we're cleaning for Shabbat, which we do every single week, what's something we can do to start to have better shalom bayis, to start to have better organization, decluttering a little bit, something small that's really doable? Because sometimes it takes time for us to allow the blessing in our life. Like it took me a few years to allow the renovation to happen, even after we had our consultation.
Right. So in our house, we start preparing for Shabbat, Motzei Shabbat. Like waiting till the last minute is never a good idea. So I like to do little things all week long to help me prepare for Shabbat. So for example, as soon as Shabbat is over, I take the hot water left over from Shabbat and I pour it into the cups for my Shabbat candles, and I rinse out my Shabbat candles and I set them up for next week. So it's like one more thing I don't have to think about Erev Shabbat, because it's like incorporated in my cleanup from that Shabbat. And it makes getting ready for Shabbat much, much less stressful the next week. And, you know, if I need to add extra candles next week, like no big deal, but like cleaning out the cups is a big deal. So, right. So it's something, it only took me 10 minutes, but I'm already preparing for next week. I'm already thinking about on Sunday who I'm going to invite for Shabbat. I mean, now we don't invite anybody, but before. And I'm already thinking about on Tuesday what we're going to be cooking for Shabbat. So like, the planning is starting much earlier on in the week than it had been previously for me. And that is really, really helpful. Another thing that's really helpful is I don't wait till Friday afternoon to start with clearing up the clutter. So, you know, I'm a mom, I got 3 kids, I got a husband, I have my own stuff going on every day too. My house isn't always perfectly tidy. So there is stuff that needs to be picked up, but I don't wait till Friday morning or Friday afternoon. Like Thursday night, that's what's happening. We're doing the pickup so that Friday afternoon, everything can be tick-tock and we can get ready really, really quickly. Because we like to take a nap Friday afternoon. You know, it's exhausting to get ready.
Well,
and
I got to pause you right there, because I don't know if everybody heard the like gems, the diamonds hitting the floor with every other word that Rebecca said here. So let's just recap for everybody. We've been talking so much in the Shabbat by Design course about looking at things with intentionality, looking at them in advance, and then we can exit this obsession with food on Shabbos and enter Shalom Bayis. So
Right.
what you're saying is that if we think about our menu on Tuesday and we start cleaning up in advance, there isn't this martyr syndrome going into Shabbos. We could even get a nap, which is going to absolutely affect a positive relationship with Shabbos, a positive relationship with food, and
100%.
the ability to actually on Shabbos think about the stuff that really matters.
So I'll just be clear, in the wintertime, we definitely don't get a nap on Friday afternoon, but
Good to keep
in
it
the
real.
summertime, yeah, but in the summertime, we can definitely make some time for a nap. And I am not the kind of person who likes to cook my Shabbos Thursday night because I just really appreciate the freshness of the food, but I keep the meals simple. I try to do things in, one pot. A lot of times we use our crock pot for Friday night. Excuse me, we use our crock pot for Friday night and just turn it off before Shabbos. And then it just sits there. It's hot already. It's sitting there. It's staying warm. And then we don't have to leave the electricity on all Shabbos. But it's like those kind of things. I can make a one pot dinner Friday night and a bunch of salads, and it's super fast. And when I'm planning what salads I want to make, I use similar vegetables throughout. So if I'm chopping cabbage, I'll make 2 different kinds of cabbage salad, and then I only have to chop it once instead of having to chop a bunch of different vegetables, so it's saving me time because I'm thinking about like how I can maximize this one ingredient. So if I'm already pulling out the Cuisinart, let's say, to chop the cabbage, then I'll think about what other vegetables I can just shred in there so that I don't have to do it with a knife and it's just chick-chock, right? So like when you're planning out what to make, like think about how you can use what you have to do double duty. And I think that makes meal planning so much easier.
100%. We want to, what I want is to just highlight a few things that you're saying is for people that the more that we can just think about it from a step back, instead of this is how it always has to be. I always have to make a lettuce salad and a chopped salad and a cabbage salad. You can think about, like in our nutrition part, we talked about, for every carb, we want to have 2 vegetables. So like, oh, okay, I could make 2 different dressings and make 2 different kinds of cabbage salad. I could take kohlrabi and put it in the shredder. So the core, from what I'm understanding for everybody, is in order to declutter our lives, it requires to pause and think in advance, because anytime you're in the moment, you're going to create clutter instead of clear out the clutter.
100%. So it's like, some people think it's a waste to take that 5 minutes before you start cooking and figure out what the best plan of attack is. But actually 5, even 10 or 15 minutes to plan the order of how you make things is really very helpful because it stops you from having to repeat steps. So if 4 of your recipes need garlic, if you know that, if you're chopping enough garlic up front or onions or all those base kind of recipe ingredients, if you just took a few minutes up front to plan, it would save you a lot of time because you would be doing larger batches all at once and you just sprinkle it throughout.
Benefit to us to doing that isn't just, well, we'll have salad. It's the lowering of the resentment in the home that you've made. You spent an hour and a half chopping vegetables, making salad, but really you can do it so much more effectively without clutter. And then there's so many fewer dishes to wash. And then there's fewer things to try and put away. And so something that for some person could take 3 hours, the little bit of thought and skill and practice could really be 45 minutes. And that creates the biggest gift in the universe, time.
Right. The other thing is you can think about, like, if you're cooking a lot of things in the oven, once the oven's hot, everything is going to cook more effectively. So if you can prep your dishes so they go in one right after the other, that's also going to make things go faster for you. And they're just like these little things. So for example, also when you're cooking, you want to clean up your dishes like right away. So like I have like a bunch of little dishes that I use for prep. Those get washed as before I hit my next step. And instead of having to attack a large pile of dishes at the end, I'm just pacing myself going through. So for example, when I make challah, while I'm doing the second rising, that's when I've washed all the measuring cups and the bowl and the dough hook, and I do all those things in between so that I'm maximizing the time and that I'm not wasting any time. And I feel like if you can just plan that, just take 10 minutes before you start, it's going to make things just so much more pleasurable. And even if it's not pleasurable exactly, just make it feel less stressful.
We're really big on anytime anything doesn't feel like it feels like it's too much effort, but we really want the result. We always have to look at how can I make this more convenient and how can I make it more pleasurable? And I think you hit convenience on the head. Every single thing you said about cooking is stuff I do every single Shabbos. We're in a temporary apartment right now with one little sink and like a foot and a half of counter space. And I've been doing my cooking like normal because literally I just prep all the stuff that has to go in the oven and it sits on the kitchen table. And I don't count that cooking time as time I spent in the kitchen because I did all the prep, took me maybe 45 minutes, an hour to get everything on the stovetop in different pots, everything in waiting to go in the oven in pans, and I'm out. And I think that's such a beautiful way, the way you described it in such a wonderful detail to help people understand the benefit of pausing and decluttering, because decluttering isn't about making more time to clean up. With your system, it's really about having more time to live because you have a system that helps you keep, one of the things
spending less time up front, basically.
Exactly. One of the things I learned from you years ago that I apply to this day is when I put away all the stuff for Shabbos, all of our cell phones and all that stuff, it all goes in the junk drawer. Before I put everything in, that's my weekly time. I clean out the junk drawer.
Oh, great.
Because
that's awesome.
I don't want to scratch up so I have an immediate benefit reward to making sure that space is clean. So every week it's like, okay, Thursday I'm checking it out, how much time I'm gonna have to leave to put it in. Oh, and then during
it's about planning.
And it's just those little things that all of a sudden the junk drawer used to be a huge part of stress, and everything would get lost and the things would get scratched and would get ruined. And then where's everyone's cell phone Saturday night? And now it's all in one place, and it's my reminder to clean it out. So I think your style is so important for people to understand, and they can find you at Balagan Be Gone. And I know that you have a really special Shabbat tool that also helps people to plan.
Yeah, so there's a Shabbat planner on the front page of my website. You can go to balaganbegon.com and you can get that. And actually in my new book coming out in a few months, there's whole section on how to prepare for Shabbat. So it's called Organized Jewish Life. So I'm really excited for that to come out.
Congratulations. I can't wait to see it. And thank you so much for adding your value to our space here, because we're really designing a nourished Shabbos that we can exit this fear of food and live in our ideal weight mindset. And the only way to do that is to deal with these other things that just get in the way.
Right. I hear you. It's a big deal. Getting all that other stuff out makes life so much better. Really and I think that it's really important to also remember that when you're getting ready for Shabbos, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done. So it's going to be perfect because you did it. As long as it's done, it's done. And that's good enough. And being okay with good enough is a skill that takes time to get to, but it makes life a lot better when you're happy with good enough.
I think that's absolutely true to that point, especially if things that are very concrete, like the cooking, things that are the general, and then the things that we're deeply striving for in our relationships, our quality, our relationship to food, our relationship to ourselves. There's good enough for today, and there's where can I grow and progress from now, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, so that I'm taking a journey. And I think there's that dichotomy. Sometimes people hear that, well, I should just be good enough, but it's so necessary to be okay today, to be done is good enough today, And tomorrow, next Shabbos, I'm going to progress.
Right. It doesn't mean don't try to get better. It just means sometimes, Erev Shabbos, when there's a lot of things to get done, it's okay if, the salad doesn't have the perfect garnish on it. That's
Absolutely.
okay. It's okay if you left it in the dish you made it in and didn't put it in a fancy serving dish. It's okay. And I think that those are the kind of things that you need to feel like okay with, because those are not the things that are gonna enhance your relationships. Those are not the things that are gonna make your relationship to food or people or Shabbos better. So it's like when you see the details are the things that hold a perfectionist back. And those details are not that important, and they're nice. It's a bonus. If you can do it, great. But if you can't, don't feel like you have to keep up with the Cohens,
100%. Thank you so much for being here.
My
And
pleasure.
we are going to all go find you and I'm sure download that amazing Shabbat tool. And I can't wait to see your new book. Shabbat
Yes.
Shalom and Shana
Shabbat
Tova.
Shalom. Shana Tova.